Some moments are meant to stay private, locked away behind closed doors and hidden cameras, yet fate has a way of revealing the truth when you least expect it. What Wang and Bai Lu tried so desperately to hide was caught on camera, and the footage is unlike anything fans have ever seen. This is more than a scandal, it's an emotional storm, a secret confession, and a moment that will leave you speechless. Watch closely, because what you are about to see will change everything you thought you knew about them. It was a quiet evening at the film set, the kind where the world outside seemed distant, muffled, and almost irrelevant. The crew had left for the night, leaving only a handful of security and a few late-night staff. The lights in the studio had dimmed, leaving a soft glow that reflected off polished floors and the faint hum of cameras still recording silently. It was supposed to be just another rehearsal wrap, a calm end to a long day. Yet, what happened next would shatter that quiet in a way no one anticipated. Wang walked into the empty studio, his steps echoing slightly in the vast space. He had been thinking about Bailu all day, the way she smiled during the final scene, the subtle hesitation in her voice, the moments when their eyes met on camera and spoke volumes they never dared to voice aloud. He wasn't supposed to think about her like this. He was a professional. But tonight, something pulled him forward, something that neither rules nor logic could hold back. Bailu appeared from the shadows, her figure framed by the dim hallway light. She paused when she saw him, her expression caught between surprise and something deeper, something unspoken. The cameras in the studio continued to roll, unnoticed, capturing every fleeting glance, every breath that seemed heavier than the last. "Dylan," she whispered, almost as if afraid to let her voice carry too far. He stepped closer, closing the distance slowly, cautiously, as if every step was measured against the weight of consequences. "Bailu," he said, his voice low, carrying a tenderness he had never allowed anyone to hear before. The footage shows their hands brushing by accident, a fleeting touch, yet it lingered far longer than either of them intended. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't planned. It was pure, raw emotion that had been building in silence for months. Dylan's eyes searched hers, trying to read the words that she hadn't spoken. Bailu's lips parted slightly, and for a moment, the world outside the studio didn't exist. They were two people suspended in a bubble of time, aware that every second could change everything if anyone saw. And yet, neither pulled away. The camera captured it all, the subtle shift in their stance, the way their shoulders relaxed when they thought no one was watching, the gentle smiles that flickered across their faces when a shared memory or unspoken thought passed between them. It was intimate without being dramatic, tender without being performative. And that is why the video was so powerful. It wasn't staged. It wasn't scripted. It was truth. Minutes passed like hours. Dylan finally broke the silence, his words barely audible. "I don't know how much longer we can keep this from everyone." Bailu's eyes glistened in the soft studio light. "Maybe we don't have to," she whispered, the weight of what she was about to admit reflected in her trembling hands. The cameras, still recording quietly, captured every micro-expression, the hesitation, the longing, the fear, and the undeniable connection. The footage reveals what fans had only guessed at for months, that their relationship had always existed somewhere between friendship and something far deeper, something too intense to be hidden forever. When the night finally drew to a close, they parted silently, glancing back at each other one last time before stepping into the cool night air. The cameras had captured every heartbeat, every unspoken promise, and every lingering glance. What Dylan and Bailu tried so desperately to hide had been preserved forever. The video leaked the following morning, and the world erupted. Fans replayed every frame, dissected every look, and speculated endlessly about the meaning behind each pause, each subtle gesture. Was it love, regret, desire, or something that transcended words entirely? The footage was emotional, heartbreaking, and utterly mesmerizing. Even after the initial shock faded, the impact remained. Social media exploded with debates, comments, and theories. Viewers couldn't get over the raw, unfiltered intimacy of the moment. Those who had dismissed the rumors between Wang and Bailu now saw the undeniable truth: some connections cannot be hidden, no matter how hard you try. But perhaps the most haunting part of the footage was the silence that followed. No words could capture the depth of what had been shared in that empty studio. The look in their eyes said everything: trust, fear, longing, and a bond that could not be undone. Months later, the moment is still talked about. The footage has been analyzed, memed, and celebrated, but for Dylan and Bailu, it remains private, a memory of a night when reality surpassed fiction, and emotions could no longer be contained. And for viewers, it is a reminder that some truths, no matter how carefully hidden, will always find a way to the surface. The video opens in silence. The kind of silence that doesn't calm you but makes your heart race faster. Dylan sat in the dim corridor of the studio, hands pressed together, staring at the reflection on the cold marble floor. Everything that once glittered around him now felt heavy. The cameras had stopped rolling, but one camera, the one that should never have been on, had captured what no one was supposed to see. Bailu hadn't spoken since that moment. Her eyes were distant, her phone buzzing endlessly with unread messages, unread apologies, unread hope. And then came the message from Xinyu. Don't let them twist the story. Speak your truth before it's too late. But Bailu didn't reply. Not yet. Because sometimes the truth itself is the one thing that hurts most when spoken aloud. Meanwhile, Miles Wei had seen everything. He was the one who found the clip before it spread. He was the one who called Dylan that night, his voice breaking through static lines and heavy breathing. Dylan, you can't hide this anymore. They've already seen it. The world has already chosen what to believe. And Dylan, still silent, whispered, what if what they saw is exactly what it looked like? The truth was never meant to be exposed in that way. It wasn't about scandal. It wasn't about fame. It was about a quiet moment between two hearts that had been pretending for too long. When Bailu finally stepped outside after days of silence, she was met with flashes of cameras, endless questions, and one voice that rose above them all. Bailu, was it real? She didn't answer. She simply looked up at the evening sky, where the first drops of rain began to fall, and murmured, it was always real, just never meant for everyone to see. Her words rippled across every platform within hours. Fans began piecing together clips, old interviews, stolen glances, shared smiles. Everything suddenly made sense. The tension, the unsaid words, the way Dylan looked at her when he thought the cameras weren't watching. In the following days, Dylan disappeared from public events. Rumors said he flew to a coastal town to clear his mind, others said he went to meet Bailu in secret. But no one truly knew until a single photograph emerged, a candid shot taken by a fan. Dylan and Bailu, sitting across from each other at a quiet outdoor cafe, faces half covered, hands intertwined beneath the table. The internet froze. Comments flooded in. People wanted answers, but the silence between them was louder than any explanation. Later that evening, Xinyu went live unexpectedly. Her voice trembled as she said, sometimes, love doesn't need an announcement. Sometimes it's the quiet moments that mean the most. Stop looking for the scandal. Start looking for the humanity. Her words shifted everything. The narrative changed overnight. What was once framed as betrayal became a story of connection. And when Dylan finally spoke through a handwritten note that Bailu shared on her page, the world fell silent once more. I never planned for anyone to know. I never wanted to hide her, but I wanted to protect her. What you saw wasn't a mistake, it was the truest thing I've ever felt. That was the end of speculation. No denials, no dramatic press statements. Just truth. Raw, vulnerable, undeniable. The final scene of this story isn't found in headlines or clips, but in that single image, two people who had been through the storm, now sitting together, not running anymore. And as the screen fades to black, the narrator's voice whispers the closing line. They tried to hide it, but maybe love was never meant to stay hidden. Maybe the real story was never about what the camera caught, but what it revealed in us all. The music swells, slow piano and strings, carrying the emotion into silence once more. Because some endings don't need explanations. They just need to be felt.